The next day, a messenger from the neighboring lord came to visit Micah's castle. As he came from a more powerful territory, he seemed to be very arrogant.
My lord has sent you 2 questions. If you can solve them, then we will establish a good relationship between the 2 territories. If not, the beautiful Emma will go with us to marry our lord.
Brother, I don't want to marry the lord of the neighboring country.
But they'll attack us immediately if we refuse their condition. How can we fight against them with our current strength?
Once upon a time, the story began in a faraway land which was governed by a young lord named Micah. He was a condescending lord who supposed everything he did is right. He had a beautiful younger sister named Emma. In a time of darkness, a huge famine hit everywhere of this land. Food became precious and was a top concern in any area. Many lords fought in bloody wars to take over the territory. Many young men were embroiled in that unjust war and never turned back. People in Micah's territory thus were gradually aged. They were weak and old men who needed help everywhere.
Those old people are a terrible burden in my kingdom. Look, they can't work at all, but waste me a lot more food every day. Youngers always had to devote their works for caring and helping them. How useless they are.
Gradually, Micah despised the old people so much, even though they had faithfully devoted all their life to serve him.
Old useless ones, I don't need you anymore. I need strong young people who can work and fight. The precious food is for them, not for the burdens like you all. From now on, I will enact a new law called Eliminating the Elderly. All the over 60-year-old people have to move to Oldaria Canyon to live on their own. Anyone who tries to disassemble or disobey will be punished.
Yes.
Just like that, the stringent rule was carried out. Then, Oldaria Canyon was also known as the Canyon for the Old. When a person turned 60, they would be forced to move to the old canyon and be left there forever. Anywhere, people could see the separation and hear the bitter wailing or plaintive cry. But they were worthless, as it was the order of Lord Micah. Brother, everyone feels that law was too strict, and so do I.
Don't be too wordy. All my decisions are right.
But the old didn't live their lives for chance. Together, they did make houses behind the canyon to live in. The strong people would cultivate food, and the weaker made delicate and skillful crafts. Time went by, the things kept going that way. One day, a farmer turned over the age of 60. He had a kind and dutiful son named Kevin. He was so weak that he was only able to do odds and ends. But his experience and wisdom were still there, so he often taught Kevin many good lessons.
Kevin, as your father is over 60 years old, you must take him to Oldaria Canyon tomorrow and leave him there. If you don't obey, you know what will happen to you, right?
This is too unreasonable.
Well, we have to accept the Lord's command so as not to be punished. Don't worry, there are many old people there and everything is going to be fine. Tomorrow you should drive me to the canyon by horse cart and go back home early, son.
Father, I haven't done anything for you yet. Please let me carry you there.
The next day, Kevin carried his father on his shoulder and found out the way to Oldaria Canyon. Along the way, the father reached out to break small branches. Then he scattered them on the ground.
Father, what are you doing?
I marked the way so that you can return without getting lost.
No, I can't callously leave him like that. I will definitely oppose such that unreasonable law at all costs.
No, you can't do it, son. Don't try to violate the law. Take me back to that canyon right now.
No, I can't.
Please let me take you back home.
Kevin took his father home and hid him in the cellar. Every day, he brought food and water and talked to bring him relief. The guards came to inspect the house, but they found the father nowhere. Therefore, they thought that Kevin had left his father in the canyon. The next day, a messenger from the neighboring lord came to visit Micah's castle. As he came from a more powerful territory, he seemed to be very arrogant.
My lord has sent you 2 questions. If you can solve them, then we will establish a good relationship between the 2 territories. If not, the beautiful Emma will go with us to marry our lord.
Brother, I don't want to marry the lord of the neighboring country.
But they'll attack us immediately if we refuse their condition. How can we fight against them with our current strength? Okay, so you say, what are the 2 questions?
The first question is to find out a way to thread through this snail shell. The next one, we brought a herd of small cows and a herd of mother cows. The 2 groups are completely separated. How to pair up the calves with their mothers.
How can we thread through such a small snail shell?
The second sentence is even more difficult. How do you know each pair while they are totally the same?
How's it going, sir? Interesting, right? You'll have 3 days to give me the answer. After 3 days, we will turn back to my land. If you can't answer correctly, then...
Micah anxiously asked this question to the ministers, but no one could come up with anything. People were quickly commanded to help the Lord answer the questions. However, his territory was only full of young people who had only a little experiences, so no one knew the correct answer. News soon reached the ears of Kevin. He also didn't know the answer, but suddenly he thought of his father.
My father is really wise. Maybe he can make it clear.
Nothing is difficult. Tell the Lord that all he needs is... like this. He can definitely do it.
He went to the castle and asked to see Micah. The Lord hastily told Kevin to come in. Emma had complete faith in him, while the messenger gave a farmer like him a contemptuous look.
You are Kevin who has the answers for the messenger's questions, right? Tell me now.
Hope that his answers will be correct.
Even the ministers had no idea about them. Does such a farmer really want to be something? Firstly, thread through this snail shell. Lord, please catch an ant and tie a thread around it. Then drop it on one side of the shell. After that, drip a drop of delicious honey on the end of the shell. The ant will help us carry the thread through the shell quickly.
As what Kevin had said, the ant really carried the thread through the shell at Micah's surprise and delight.
Great, good job.
How smart he is.
Even the great ministers can't solve this riddle. How could a young man? Well, even though you solved the first question, the next one is on another level. Please distinguish each pair of cows for me. Why do I have to distinguish when they can actually recognize each other?
But how?
Lord, just wait for the cows to be really hungry, then release them. They will find themselves back to their mothers without lifting a finger.
Okay, do exactly what he has said.
As Kevin said, when the hungry cows had just been released, they ran right towards their mothers. Then the messenger had no choice but to leave. The 2 territories agreed to build a strong relationship. Thank you, Kevin. Do you know that you've saved me? Your intelligence is admirable.
How can you figure them out? I promise to reward you generously and agree with whatever you want.
Actually, my father, who was supposed to have been left in the canyon because of your law, came up with the 2 answers. But how can I leave him like that? So I hid him in the cellar of my house.
What? Those amazing ideas were drawn by an old person? Unbelievable.
All of us have to get old one day, but their life experience and wisdom are exactly what we need to learn.
please repeal that unreasonable law?
I agree that your father is indeed a learned and experienced man, but that doesn't mean the same old are wise and useful too.
Lord, so can you please go with me to visit the Canyon of the Old? Perhaps they will make you think again.
Reaching the valley behind the canyon, Micah was amazed to see many beautiful houses and desirable fields. The Lord really admired the exquisite crafts made by the old people. Together, they still lived a good life, even though no one was young there anymore.
Unbelievable! I thought that they were all useless and then abandoned them. I've really made a terrible mistake.
They have much life experience that is precious to our life. The old are always helpful. I really hope that you will repeal that law.
In the end, Micah admitted his mistake and sincerely apologized to all people in his territory. The Lord has dismissed his unreasonable law, so all the elderly could happily reunite with their families. Since then, the Canyon of the Old disappeared forever. No longer despised the old, Micah turned to be much more modest than ever. Kevin and Emma had a wonderful feeling for each other. They became more and more intimate. Not long after, the Lord held the biggest marriage ever for both of them. Undoubtedly, they would live in the love of other people and had a happy life now and evermore.